Hey, what's up, everybody? Michael here again with AJ. We're back at you with another review of horror movies. We watched Leprechaun 1 and 2, and we are going to be talking about those today and reviewing them. If you have not seen our latest upload, which was The Rite, R-I-T-E, go watch that. What are you doing? Go watch this, and then go watch that. Because, hey, how you guys doing? So, you got anything interesting to talk about with this movie before we get into this?
I love them very much.
Well, that's okay. Good. I like it. So, first and foremost, how y'all doing? So, Leprechaun 1 starts, and the opening scene is the leprechaun counting or playing with his gold, whatever he was doing. And then it goes to a man riding in a limo. He pulls up to his house. I assumed when I first saw this, I didn't know if it was his house or not at first, but it's his house. Gets out and chugs his entire rest of his bottle of booze, and
which is Jameson, which is fucking awesome. Because I love Jameson.
And his wife comes out, and she's like, "What are you doing? What's that limousine here for?" And blah blah blah. So he's like, "Did the package get delivered or some shit like that?" And she's like, "Yeah. What's up?" So he's like, "I got the leprechaun. I got his gold." And she's like, "Oh yeah, leprechaun. Yeah, sure you did." And so
you're supposed to go to Ireland to bury your mother. What the hell are you doing with all this money?
So lightning storm starts, and of course that's a bad sign, like any fucking movie in the world. It's so fucking cliche. The second a scene starts like that, the lightning starts. Who's ever seen that, right? So the lady's at home. I think she's by herself. Or did he leave, or was he still there?
He left to go bury the gold.
Right. So she's in there, and she hears a little kid singing in the suitcase, and I can't breathe, let me out of here. And so it's the leprechaun. It tricks her. She lets it out, and he's like, "Oh, lassie, where's me gold?" And this is 100% not a stereotypical Irish voice. I have an Irish last name, and my ninth great grandpa was 100% Irish, so I can do this singing alone. So. Even though that makes me like 0.00001%, I'm sure. But, so she's backing up from him. She's scared and afraid of him, and he walks up to her, and then she fucking tumbles backwards down the stairs. And it's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
It's hilarious.
I think I was laughing because I knew you'd find it hilarious.
An old lady falling down the stairs.
It's the way she falls. She just goes, man. She's gone. That's it. She just fucking dies.
He doesn't even touch her.
So.
Because he yeets down the stairs.
So, let's see. Leprechaun uses her voice to trick the man, being like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." And so at this point, I'm like, okay, yeah, the leprechaun can use magic. He can change his voice, I guess. Okay. So the man runs for his gun and a four-leaf clover when he sees the leprechaun. And I guess the four-leaf clover is like the kryptonite of the leprechaun because he backs away from it. And so they have a little altercation. The man shoots all his bullets at him. And it seems to knock him out long enough for the guy to put him in a box. It's a wooden crate box type thing. And he nails it shut and puts the clover on top of it to seal the little bastard in there. No disrespect to any leprechauns listening. But,
Come fight me, bitch.
That's him, not me. Don't bother me. So, in my notes, I very specifically looked like, wow, it looks like he's about to have a fucking heart attack. As he's pouring gas on the box and in the house trying to light the match and burn this thing alive, he looks like he's about to have a heart attack. And sure enough, he does. And
stroke.
Was it a stroke?
Stroke.
I know he said he looked like he was about to have a stroke, but then he looked like he grabbed his heart, so I thought he had a heart attack.
See, I always thought it was a heart attack, but later on in the movie, too, the one guy says, yeah, he had a stroke about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I must have missed that, right? Yeah. So he had a stroke, and let's see here. So he goes to light the match, and right as soon as he lights it, he falls and strokes out. So then, excuse the dog barking in the background. You got anything to add to that beginning part before we jump into the time skip?
Not really, though. I think his rhymes are pretty dope. That he comes up with.
Yeah. So we do a 10 years later time jump, and as soon as it said 10 years later and I saw a car driving, I've seen this movie before, once or twice, a long time ago, so I didn't remember hardly anything about it. But I was like, okay, in stereotypical fucking fashion, of course, this is going to be one of those things where someone buys the old house to fix it up. They end up fucking around with the box, they let it free, yada yada. That's exactly what happened. Called that from a mile away. But it was Jennifer Aniston and her dad, and I was surprised because I forgot she was in this.
It's her very first movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah, her feature film.
We'll see. Where are you guys going to learn information like that aside from on this podcast? So, she's moving in with her dad, and
at the beginning of the movie, she's a prissy little bitch.
Brit.
She's a prissy little Brit.
She go in there, she go, oi! So, no offense to the British community watching. It's all in good fun. So, let's see here. Yeah, at first she's a giant pussy about it all. She's like, there's webs. There's a spider. So she tells her dad, she's like, I am going to go into a hotel. I'm leaving. Blah, blah, blah. So then she's storming outside on the phone, trying to get reception for the hotel. And she bumps into this guy who's putting paint thinner on the fence out there. And she bumps into him. And he's like, hey. And she tries to hand him money for it. She's like, oh, does this cover it? And he's like, no. And then she pulls out another 20. It was 40 altogether. And she's like, how about this? And he's like, how about an I'm sorry? And she looks at him confused. And she's like, whatever, I'm in a hurry. And she just shoves the money in his hand and walks away. And
She would rather pay him money than just say sorry.
well, it's them city folks for you, you know?
No offense to city folks.
Plenty of offense. I'm kidding. He was painting a fence. That's what I meant. Because offense, get it? Because fuck you all. So anyway, let's see here.
At least she has a natural fear that a lot of people have, and not something stupid.
That's fair. By the way, we've been drinking beer and sipping on Crown Royals, so I'm in a mood today. So apologies to all around the round table. So
To anyone who's not Mike.
So as he starts to like patronize her, is it patronize? Yeah. He starts to. Like, oh yeah, you know, you're scared of this place, you can't handle it, la la, city girl.
It's just funny how girls are afraid of spiders and stuff.
Right.
She gets offended.
She's like, it's we're treated equal. I'm not scared. And then her dad walks out as soon as she's saying that. And he's like, all right, you win. I'm not gonna fight you anymore. Let's just leave. You hate it so much. And she's like, I don't hate it. Dad, put the bags back inside. Dad, I want this guy to dig me down. Dad. So.
Trying to get his dick wet.
So he's like, all right, cool. So then we go to the guy going to, was it the dad who went, or was it the chick who went and met Ozzy and the little kid?
What do you mean?
Because one of the next scenes was going and meeting Ozzy and the kid. Was it the dad that went up and was like, hey, and they're like, hey, this is my special friend Ozzy, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, it's the dad, and
Okay,
right off the bat, you could tell Ozzy's not exactly what you would call brilliant. And Alex is an asshole.
Yeah, Alex is an asshole, and I put in my notes that Ozzy is a dip fuck. So,
because the dad asked to help. And the kid's like, our liability insurance don't cover that. I'm like, bitch, you're a fucking kid.
Right. He's
I'm
like,
pretty
what,
sure it don't cover
9? That
either. Yeah.
So, let's see here. She ends up in the basement with him, and, you know, there's a fucking scene going on. Oh, what you doing? So, I think they're going to open the box at that point, and it's not them that opens it. Ozzy ends up going down there. I don't know what part this was. Oh, right. Ozzy fucks up because he got covered in paint, didn't he?
Yeah, Alex wasn't holding the ladder steady and the paint fell on him.
And the dad came out, or wait, who? Someone came out and was like, I told you to hold that ladder steady.
No, that was Ozzy.
Was it Ozzy?
Yeah.
Okay, he's like, I told you to hold that ladder steady. And so Ozzy goes in the basement, and the Leprechaun starts singing to him to get him to open the box.
He mimics a little girl's voice again.
Right. And then in my notes I put, good job, dip fuck. He brushes the clove off of the top of the box, and the Leprechaun bursts through since he's not weakened anymore. He's still kind of weakened without his gold, but the kryptonite was away. So he busts out and knocks Ozzy down, and he's like, "Have you seen me gold?" And Ozzy's like, and he's like, "Tell me the truth or I'll bite your ear off." And so Ozzy just runs instead of being like, "No, I haven't seen it," honest and truly. He just gets up and runs.
And he actually escapes because the Leprechaun doesn't have his gold, and that makes him weak.
Mm-hmm. He tried to close the door with magic, and then Ozzy got through it anyway. So, Ozzy goes up to warn the others, and they're like, "Yeah, right, fuck you, a leprechaun, yeah, you fucking, So, he's like, "Okay, it'll make you feel better, we'll go down there and check it out." So he grabs this little rinky-dink looking stick, and Ozzy's like, "That's not gonna be enough!" And so, look at my fucking notes here for a second at the Ozzy. So they go down there and check. And I was so mad at this movie because there's so many parts that's been used a million times. I put the old stupid fucking "we hear a noise, hunt it down, it's a rat, Ozzy, you fucking idiot." So yeah, they're hunting around for it and hear a noise, and he's like, "That's the leprechaun, he's gonna kill us all." And then after like a really long drawn out time of hunting for it, a rat pops out, and they go, "Oh, Ozzy, it was a rat. There's your leprechaun." And
no, he's bigger than that.
So then they go outside, and there's a fucking rainbow in the sky, and he's like, "There's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbows. We gotta go get the rainbow gold."
Isn't it?
I hope you know I'm leaving that in. So they follow the rainbow and end up at this old pickup truck. And Alex, the little kid, is an asshole this whole time. He's like, "You're a fucking idiot. You can never find the end of the rainbow. You're stupid." Yeah. And then Ozzy opens up the truck and finds a coin in there. And the kid's like, "There's no such thing. Ooh, let me see it. Let me see it. Gimme. So he chases him around and steals the coin. Then Ozzy, the whole gold bag appears. And even though the gold bag appeared out of thin air, they found the gold coin. Ozzy was like, "See, it's a leprechaun." And Alex was like, "I told you there's no such thing as leprechauns, stupid. We found this gold fair and square, finders keepers." So, my notes said, "Bag appears, kid still, says, still no lep, her, you idiot." So Ozzy swallows the coin, of course.
Accidentally. He's just biting it to try to see if it was real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you die from swallowing gold? He's like, "Yeah, after I kill you."
So then it goes to Jennifer Aniston's character. I can't remember her name.
Oh, wait. Well, they find the gold. They decide to hide it. And he's also like, "Ozzy, you know what this means? We can get you a brain operation." Fucking asshole kid,
right.
Dude. And he's like, I'm smart. He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I felt so bad for Ozzy. I wanted to punch that kid in the face so hard.
So then it goes to the part with Jennifer Aniston's character. She's fiddle fucking with the boy toy. And then she goes to put something in the truck, and all of a sudden something from underneath the truck starts caressing her leg. And she thinks it's the boy toy, and she's like,
"Oh, fuck it."
Please, somebody clip that and use it everywhere. So, it ends up it's a leprechaun, obviously, if you haven't fucking figured that out yet.
But she thinks it's Nathan.
Right. So she thinks it's Nathan Drake from Uncharted. So the leprechaun scrapes her leg and cuts it really bad. And she's like, "Ah, fuck!" And he's like, everyone's so stupid in this movie. Every time I get mad, I put her in all capital letters. But he's like, "It was a cat, her. And,
well, she's like, "I know what it feels like when a man caresses my leg."
And her dad stares at her like, "Bitch, what?" So then the dad is reaching in because the leprechaun's using a fake voice to mimic a cat.
Hiding in a fucking tree.
And the dad reaches in and gets his fucking hand chomped. And so they're like, "We got to take him to the ER. So, yeah, the dad's hand gets fucked up, Jack. So they get in the truck to take him to the ER, and then the truck fucks up. And Alex has to run to the engine and replug something back in.
The distributor cap, apparently this fucking kid's a mechanic.
Of course, he's everything. He's an asshole, he's a mechanic. So they get in the truck and zoom off, and Anything else you want to add to that before we move on?
Oh, the leprechaun's following them on a tricycle.
Right. Oh god.
Which, like, it seems like every time he's like starts off chasing someone, they fast forward time a little bit to make him look
Right.
like he's super fast.
Oh, that's 100% what they did, and it looked awful. So yeah, he he goes in a barn and steals a tricycle, and he starts riding after him, and it's fucking horrendous. Fast forward, it's CGI looking. So let's see here.
Ozzy and Alex
They
go to the
pawn
coin shop.
Right. Is it a pawn shop or coin shop?
It says coins and collectibles.
Sounds
so
like a pawn shop,
probably,
I guess. Yeah.
I just put coin shop because it said coin on there.
So they go in and they're like, "Hey, we got a coin," and Ozzy's like, "That's a leprechaun coin," and like Alex is like, "Shut the fuck up, you idiot." So the guy's like, "I ain't never seen nothing like this before." By the way, none of these people sound anything like the voices we're making in this movie, so just fair warning. And the warning that I keep forgetting to say at the beginning of every one of these. Spoiler warning for this. So,
5 hours later.
it's in the title. You guys know better. But yeah. So he's like, "I ain't never seen nothing like this before. Let me keep it overnight. I'm going to study it." And Ozzy's like, "You ain't going to lose it, are you?" And he's like, "No, I'll put it in my safe. It's going to be safe." Badoons. So, let's see here.
He says that it could be worth $500, but if it's historical value, it's priceless.
And the kid's like, "Oh." Like, you even know what priceless means, you little fucking douchebag. So, anyway, the stupid fucking leprechaun is pulled over by a cop, and he claws him in the face.
Oh, you forgot about my favorite kill of the movie.
Do tell.
When the leprechaun fucking pops out of the safe and grabs the pogo stick and pogo sticks the owner to death.
I can't believe I forgot to put that in the notes. I think I thought I was going to remember it, so I didn't put it in the notes. But let's see here. So yeah, then the cop, claws the cop. He starts chasing him through the woods. He takes his gun. And Ozzy, he calls the cops. They end up in the house, and the leprechaun's there again. And Ozzy calls the police station, and he's like, "The attack is on! The leprechaun is attacking us! Send the army! Send the navy!" And the cops just laugh at him and hang up, and they're like, "Yeah, what did you call about last time? UFOs?" And then the one cop's like, "Yeah, haha, leprechauns." And he gets a serious face. He's like, "That's a good one." It's like, okay. So
there's a lot of movie you kind of skipped.
Did I?
Yeah.
You're going to have to take the reins from this. I think I skipped putting some notes in here. That way you'd have some talk time.
So after he kills him with the pogo stick and everything, he takes that toy car from the shop and drives it down the road, and that's where the fucking cop sees him and pulls him over.
Oh, right.
And yeah, they do their little game of hide and seek, and he ends up breaking the cop's neck. And the leprechaun gets back to the house, and he starts looking for his gold. Oh, and a trivia fact about this. Apparently General Mills actually approved the Lucky Charms to be in this movie when he pulls the cereal from the cover.
Right.
But they saw the scene, got upset, and revoked it, so they had to change it to Lucky Clovers.
Of course they did.
I guess they didn't like that he was spitting it out or something.
Well, that was not very good for brand imaging, so.
And then he decides to shine all the shoes in the house because he's a leprechaun.
You're right, I did forget quite a few things.
Yeah, and when they get back to the house, they clean up, and Ozzy has that little bike bell. It's like, I found a bike bell.
Right.
Then him and Alex are sitting on the couch, and they hear the bell again. He's like, "Will you stop playing with that fucking bell?" I was like, "It's not me."
So, right. Then he calls the cops and all that.
After Nate falls in the bear trap.
And the next point I have, I think I got a little sloppy with my notes towards the end of it, because I had a hectic day yesterday. So, next point I have is she gives him back the bag of gold, and he's like, "Me powers are returning, but I'm missing one." And it turns out to be the one coin that Ozzy ate, because he counted 99 out of 100 coins, and he, so then he's like, "I want me fucking gold!" So, they all go to see Mr. O'Grady to stop it,
Let me find where you're at here.
I just hallucinated the rest of this, I guess. So she gives him back the gold, and he counts it out, and it's only 99 out of 100 pieces, and that's where he figures out that he's missing one. Well, AJ looks for that. How's everyone doing? How's life treating you?
I had to skip down quite a bit.
Oh, okay. comment down below if you've seen Leprechaun 1 or 2, and if you haven't, go watch it.
Comment anyways.
Comment anyway, yeah. Comment and scream gibberish at us. So did you find where I was at?
I did.
Okay. So the next part I have after that is they go to see Mr. O'Grady to learn how to stop it. Because he had survived the stroke and was in the nursing home.
Hold on, let me find that.
I may have skipped around a lot. Just for more context, help you find it. They,
No, I know. I just got a lot of notes,
Oh, okay.
so I got to skip down a bunch. Okay.
So yeah, they go in the room to see Mr. O'Grady, and he's like, "You can't stop it because." And then it turns around, and it's actually the Leprechaun in Mr. O'Grady's wheelchair. And he's like, "You'll never stop me." So there's a wheelchair chase scene, which is fucking awful CGI and sped up. Like, they just have him rolling down in the wheelchair, and they have him fast forwarded when he's moving, and his arms are just like zoom, 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 zoom. The fucking CGI and it just all looks awful. It's horrible. So they end up finding Mr. O'Grady. He's alive. He's hanging upside down from the ceiling. Was he still alive at that point?
He was. He was in the elevator ceiling.
That's right. So I may have skipped a lot here because
You did a lot.
I'll tell you what. I'll read this last part, and then you can read back on anything I've missed, because I only have like 4 notes left after this. But they get to the point where they're looking for a 4-leaf clover to be able to stop him, and Ozzy's like, "You gotta believe, that's why you can't stop him or find a 4-leaf clover." And she's like, "I'm sick of you, Ozzy, you fucking half-brain moron, fuck you, you stupid piece of shit. There's no," she's like, "I'm sick of your magic and your fairy tales," even though there is a leprechaun that's been trying to kill him this whole time. And she's like, "Okay, fine, fuck it, I believe, whatever." And then finds a 4-leaf clover immediately. But I will get another shot of the Crown Royal, and I'll let you pick up on what I left out.
We can just continue. I don't want to go back and try to find all the stuff.
Fair enough. Let me take my shot here, because the next note I have after that is him going into Ozzy's stomach and saying, "It's your belly I want."
Oh, and for some reason the clover patch is glowing magically green.
That Crown Royal is magically delicious. All right.
Oh yeah, she sees the cop car and finds the dead cop.
Right, she gets in there stupidly. She's like, "Hey, help, help, help." She opens the driver's side, sits in it, and then looks over and sees the passenger dead. And then she's stuck in the car with the leprechaun right outside. Why would you get all the way in the car and close the door? And how would you not see the passenger as you were getting in anyway?
She ends up stabbing him in the eye, and the leprechaun takes the eye from the cop and replaces it.
An eye for an eye.
Then Nate shows up and shoots him for like the 5th time.
Right. So, the next part of the notes I have are Leprechaun goes for the kid, and Ozzy's like, "It's me you want. I swallowed your gold coin." And then the Leprechaun's like, "Then it's your belly I want." So, he's chasing Ozzy. He ends up killing Ozzy, doesn't he? Or does he survive?
No, he cuts him up nice and deep black. But
That's
other
right.
than
I
that,
can't remember if he survived it
he
or
uses
not.
the buckle from his shoe to cut him.
So the kid, fucking, of course, the asshole kid in this whole movie is going to be the one to save the day. He slingshots the 4-leaf clover into the leprechaun's throat. And,
While saying that line, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
right. Then the next note I have is the leprechaun falls down the well, and he's like a melted skeleton and shit, and then he comes back up, and, can't remember if he falls back down or if they knock him down or something.
Nate rifle butts him with the shotgun, and he
Right.
falls back down.
That's all the notes I have on the movie.
And he sets the well on fire, and the well explodes. And then, of course, the cops arrive, and you can hear the leprechaun saying, "I'll be back, motherfucker."
And you think he'd be dead, but of course not. So that's Leprechaun 1. And before I give it my rating, I want to say I was disappointed. It was not as good as I remembered it. The CGI was so bad. The use of the fast forward feature looks so horrible. Normally I'm not big on CGI. You know me. There was that one movie, 1408. You harped on the CGI, and I thought it looked just fine.
Christ, that CGI.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 with the fake CGI when he's swinging and shit. I never had a problem with that. I still can look past it. But this was fucked. And I just didn't enjoy it very much. It was a super predictable, So my rating for the movie is 2.5 out of 5 or 5.5 out of 10. So 2.5 out of 5 stars. I did not give it a very good rating, and AJ's face seems to disagree with that.
It's a shame this is going to be our last episode due to your death.
Let me guess, you gave it like an 8 out of 10?
Exactly an 8 out of 10.
Oh, fuck you. No, you didn't.
I did.
What?
I love this movie.
We finally found our movie we disagreed on hardly. Or not hardly, but like hard intensely.
I could watch this movie multiple times a year.
Okay, so now we're going to get into Leprechaun 2. Leprechaun. So, God, I can't wait for us to do Drag Me to Hell, because I can't wait to see both our reactions to the end of that. I'm not going to tell anyone anything about Drag Me to Hell, except for it's going to be an interesting episode, I'll tell you that much.
This movie actually has an alternate title.
Really?
Which it was One Wedding and Lots of Funerals.
That was the title?
That was the alternate title to this movie.
That fucking sucks. I mean, it's like putting a hat on a hat. I mean, it makes sense, but... Okay. So it starts in Ireland. Someone's running, trying to escape. We don't know who it is, what's going on. It ends up being the Leprechaun's slave. The Leprechaun gets him, and he's like, "It's the 17th of March. It's the feast of St. Patrick's. It's the Leprechaun's birthday. He's
1000th birthday.
He's 1,000 years old, which you had a problem with that.
Because this is supposed to be 1,000 years in the past. But in the first movie, he tells the cop he's 600 years old.
So that's a little continuity error, because the cop in the first movie is like, "You're a little young to be out," or something like that. And he's like, "I'm 600 years old." Apparently. I don't remember the age part he said, but if AJ says...
He definitely said 600.
AJ's a pretty stand-up guy. I trust him.
I'm sitting.
That's it. So thank you all for sticking with the channel. So, let's see.
And the Leprechaun is dressed like a fucking asshole.
He looks like half... Does he have a Confederate soldier hat mixed with like...
No, he has like one of those elfin kind of cone-shaped hats on his head. Like a dunce cap.
I thought it was it wasn't that pointy, was it? I thought it was kind of squared off at the...
Or maybe it was a little floppy. Maybe it flopped over.
I never have the problem with being floppy, so I'm always hard and ready to go. So I wouldn't know. So, yeah, so he's like, "It's time for me to get my bride. I came to get my bride. It's my 1,000 year, yada yada. Every 1,000 years I come to get my bride."
Come to get that puss.
So the guy, he's like, "You want your freedom, don't you?" And the guy's like, "It's the most important thing to me." And I don't know why he's saying it like that. He didn't. The alcohol is starting to hit a little bit.
Didn't you know Leprechaun 2 is a musical?
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a Broadway special. So yeah, the guy's like, "It's more important to me than anything." And so the Leprechaun takes me. He's like, "This is my bride. She sneezes once. She sneezes twice. Once she sneezes thrice, I fuck her in the ass." Whatever the fuck he said. So,
she will be my wife.
My wife, very nice. So, so she's behind this clothesline with a sheet on it, and it gets revealed that it's his daughter, and he's like, "No, senor, my beloved."
Oh, unless somebody says "God bless you," then the charm doesn't work.
He's like, if she sneezes 3 times, she's my wife, and no one says "God bless you."
Why would he reveal that information?
Right. So, he blows and makes her sneeze once, then twice, and the guy's like, "Please don't." And the Leprechaun's like, "Don't worry, you'll have your freedom as soon as she's my wife. Don't worry about it." So she sneezes the 3rd time, and right as she sneezes, he's like, "God bless you, my child." So the Leprechaun's like, "I'm gonna fuck you up now." So he does like this Darth Vader force choke on him and kills him. Does he break his neck?
Yeah, the collar breaks his neck.
Mm-hmm. So then the daughter finds him, and it zooms in on her fucking god-awful face while she's screaming. She made an ugly scream face. It was fucked up, Jack.
And
so
the Leprechaun cursed his family, saying in 1,000 years he will return.
Right. So, guess what? We flash forward to 1,000 years, and it opens up to after the 1,000-year time skip to this guy trying to give one of those stupid fucking fake tours that you see in cities. It was called like the Dark Side Tour or something.
Dark tours, darkness tours or something.
Yeah, it was just something to rip people off. It's one of those things where they try and get you, they drive you around like, this house is super haunted. Ooh, go fuck yourself.
Even though it was just built like the week before.
You're right. So, he's trying to rip people off, and the guy's like, I don't know about this. He's a tourist, and his wife's like, it might be interesting. He's like, nah, this is a sham. And the guy's like, hey, if you're not man enough to take it, just don't take it, you know? So,
You know what I'm saying?
he doesn't talk like Rocky Balboa either. Hey, yo, Adrian, I just want you to know I'm very available for this man. So, he finally convinces them, and another couple too, and he gets almost $300. So he goes to get his uncle named,
Morty.
Morty, right.
And he has a little drinking problem.
He's in the bar plastered talking to this guy who's passed out. Like, you want to invest? Hey, cocksucker, you want to invest? He's like, Marty, you want to invest? Okay, I was trying to do Doc from Back to the Future, and I did Rick from Rick and Morty, which was based on that character, so that fits. But yeah, he was talking to the drunk guy, shaking his head up and down to answer the questions. Like, all right, you're now a 5% investor. So the kid comes in, and he's like, hey, we got a tour to give. And so they take him in the bathroom with ice water and try and sober him up. Oh, he tells the bartender one more drink, and the bartender gives him a drink. He spits it out. He's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, special house blend rye. It's Coke and water. He's like, you've had enough. You're cut off. So they take the uncle in the bathroom. They put him in the sink with ice cold water, and he's like, I'm sober. I'm sober. Then he's stumbling around, and the kid's wanting to go on a date with his sweetheart so he can, you know, suck her toes and lick her feet and shit. And she's like, come on, let's hurry up. We're already half an hour late for the date. And the kid's like, you're in no shape to drive. And the uncle's like, I'm going to kill these people. It's rule 2. Don't kill the customers. So the kid's like, fuck it. Give me the keys. I'll drive him. And the uncle's like, you're the best. So the kid drives him, and the girlfriend's with him, and she's not amused at all. So he's giving him this bullshit shanty tour, this snake oil tour. And he goes up to this one house, and this angry black lady comes out, and she's like, there's no one dead here. Get away from my fucking house. And she throws water on the car.
A pail of water on the car, like that's gonna...
Right, like that's gonna do anything, but... So, it's this long, drawn-out fucking scene of him showing people fake shit and all that. And,
and don't forget the homeless guy scene, too.
Bingo. So, they get to their quote-unquote last stop, and a homeless guy jumps up at the window and does a jump scare to scare the people, and they're like, holy fucking shit. So, let's see.
Homeless guy walks off into the bushes, lays down, he's drinking.
Right, he's drinking some whiskey, I think it was.
Canadian
blend whiskey, and he lays next to a tree that was like Houdini something fucking... whatever the fuck it was. It had a sign on about Houdini something.
It was in, like, where Houdini's unfinished mansion was or some shit like that.
Okay. So, then the leprechaun is inside the tree, and the tree starts sucking in the homeless guy's alcohol bottle, and he reaches for it, and he's like, where's my booze? So he fights with the tree to get it back, and then the tree takes it, and then it opens up like a vagina, so I call it the tree pussy, the tussie. And, the leprechaun comes out of the tussie, and he sees the homeless guy has a gold tooth, and he's like, oh, gold. So he makes tree roots come out of the ground and hold the guy down while he rips the tooth out with his bare hands. Super fucked up, painful looking scene. And why don't you take over talking a little bit? I feel like I've hogged the spotlight here.
So after that, we meet Ian, who has a crush on Cody's girlfriend, Bridget, and you can tell Cody and Ian have that strong dislike for each other. They're battling for the love of this woman.
100%.
And I don't really like any characters in this movie that much.
Oh, dude. Okay, no, I thought you'd skip the scene. That's my bad.
I believe that's a very nice scene.
I wrote it in the notes funky. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm not. I like the uncle a lot.
Yeah.
He's like the only character in the movie I actually like. He's a classic hustle and bustle charlatan, always conning people and stuff. The uncle is. But please continue. I was wrong. You were right on point.
They get back in the car, and he gets pulled over for running a red light. And apparently he only has a learner's permit as well. Morty comes and gets him out of jail. And the homeless guy comes in after while they're still in there in the police station. He's like, "Oh, it was a leprechaun. The leprechaun stole me whiskey and beat me up." And they're like, "Oh yeah, leprechaun, yeah."
Yeah, he floored it because the people were pissed. They were like, "This tour sucks. Just take us back." And he's like, "All right, fuck you." So he floored it, and he was sitting with it, and his uncle was totally like, you know, "Oh, I'm gonna make him pay for this. I don't know why he would do something like this. I'm gonna get him home and straighten him out." And basically, he was like, "Yeah, thanks for taking one for the team." And then as they're sitting there when the homeless guy's saying that stuff, the kid is like, "Hey, that's how you're gonna end up if you don't stop drinking." And he's like, "Don't say that to me. Let's get out of here. This place gives me the creeps."
And then at one point it cuts to the leprechaun, and the guy in the suit walks up, gives him a quarter. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" He's like, "I want gold."
Yeah, the leprechaun, he's got a little sigil on the ground, and he's got a staff pointing, levitating, rotating to point him to where his bride is, and the guy thinks it's a fucking, you know, parlor trick, so he gives him a quarter. Then he sees he's got a gold ring on, so he rips his finger off, and it was, oh god, it looked painful. So he rips his gold finger off, his gold ring off with his, you know, finger. And then it goes to...
It goes back to the apartment.
Stereotypical fucking bullshit. Laying on the bed, listening to music, looking at pictures of your girlfriend because the girlfriend was pissed at him and left and went go-karting with the other guy. And she definitely got dicked down. She cheated on him 100%. But he was laying there like, looking at the pictures and shit of the good times. Fuck you. So
watching TV and a romance, and the characters on the TV turn into her and him.
Right. So after that, the dude that she was with, that she 100% fucked, she got a ride back to the house from this one guy. You remember all the names. I don't fucking remember these people.
Ian, the guy who owns the go-kart place.
Right, so... so Chad, he takes the chick back, and...
tries to get it in.
He's like, "So I know your parents ain't home. How about I come slide it in?" And she's like, "Why? No, you know I'm with the other guy."
Come on, just a tip.
Even though she went with him and went on a date with him, basically, she's like, "You know I'm with the other guy." It's silly. She 100% let him on just to make the other guy jealous. But he was like, "Hey, either we're fucking or I'm fucking." And did she kick him, punch him? I can't remember what she did. Pushed him off.
Yeah, she pushed him off.
So
storms off back inside.
Then the leprechaun fakes her voice to lure.
Fakes her.
Makes like a holographic projection, like makes him hallucinate. And she's like, "Come here," and you know, and she takes her shirt off, and she's got her tits out, and he goes to motorboard her tits, and it turns out it's lawnmower blades that are spinning, and he thinks it's her tits, and he sticks his face right into it. Ah, man, that's not cool. So, but let's see.
Then Cody shows up, brings her flowers, and is apologizing. She does accept, and that's when the leprechaun sneaks in the window.
As he's apologizing, though, she has a weird-ass face. It was just like, you know, I can't stay mad at you.
Yeah.
Or some shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck that face was.
Like somebody held vinegar under her face or something.
But then she sneezes 3 times, and he tries to say bless you, and the leprechaun uses magic to make the phone cord choke him and cover his mouth and shit. That way he can't say it. And then then she's officially his. So she's got the collar on now. Well, he's like, you know, wedding's got to have a ring, and puts the collar on her and stuff. But at a point is, as he falls down after getting choked, one of the leprechaun's gold shilling coins rolls into his hand in between his fingers. So, let's see.
And it's also revealed that wrought iron burns the leprechaun. He can't stand it.
Yes. You got anything else to add? Because the next point I have is when he's pouring the drink and she takes the rock to his head.
Well, he takes her back to his tree home, the Keebler Elf tree house.
To his back cave of rapiness.
And then, while his back is turned, he's getting her a drink, and she hits him in the head with a rock and tries to escape.
And he's not fazed at all. Then he gets her down, and he's like, he wraps her up in this blanket or something with magic, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to make some changes to you to make sure you can bear my little ones." And
he's planning on a plastic surgery.
I'm gonna have to change your face to make you. They won't, you know, suckle you if you don't look like them.
Have to carve up your face a little bit.
Yeah, and she was not thrilled about this, naturally so. So he pours his gold on her and is getting ready to get it on. Like, he's rubbing the gold in her, and he's like, and he notices his one coin. Of course, just like the first movie, it's one fucking coin, and I'll bet you it's like that with every movie. I've only seen...
It is not.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, I've seen the third one a long time ago, and I saw the fourth or fifth one a long time ago, like bits and pieces of it. So I've not seen anything past the third one, really. I wouldn't count. But, so he's like, what is me fucking gold? And
the whole time this is going on, Cody becomes the prime suspect for her disappearance.
Because that one guy, Ian, he was dead, and
she attempted to run out the door at one point, and he kind of like Grady in the elevator, swings down dead.
So Leprechaun killed him. So the cops get there, the kid's dead, she's missing, and the flowers that Cody had brought for her with the I'm sorry note were in there. So they're like, all right, that's our suspect. So the Leprechaun leaves, and she tries to escape, and she ends up at the house where the Leprechaun was looking for his gold, and sees that the cops are looking for Cody. And then she tries to go out the door and ends up right back in the rapey cave. And let's see here. Then it's the next part I have is the uncle in the street covering for him with the cops.
Well, Cody goes back to the apartment and shows the gold coin to Morty, and Morty, of course, still doesn't believe it's a Leprechaun's coin.
Well, that was right after the street scene, because he's walking to Morty, I'm guessing, and he looks over across the street and sees Morty talking to two cops, and the cops are looking down, writing down what Morty's saying, and Morty looks over and sees Cody, and he's like, get the fuck out of here!
Yeah.
So that's when they meet up, and he's like, they're looking everywhere for you, and he's like, I didn't do nothing! So, let's see. All right, so then they have that big argument. He's like, I got the gold coin, I saw the leprechaun. He's like, leprechauns aren't real, blah, 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 blah. Then after like a 5-minute argument, the leprechaun pops up, I'm not real, huh? And so, it ensues of him trying to get the coin back, them running, they go out on the fire escape, these iron bars close, and the leprechaun tries to grab it. Hurts him, obviously. And the next part I have are the little people in leprechaun outfits. So,
yeah, where they show up at the bar.
Is that the next scene?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So why don't you take that?
So they leave the apartment, they get to the bar, and they're having a St. Patrick's Day. I believe the bar was called like Brennan's or something like that. They show up at the bar, and a bunch of little people are there, and they're sitting at the bar, and Morty looks like he's zoned the fuck out. He's like, hey, Morty, hello, snap out of it. Morty's like, the leprechaun is here. And it shows the leprechaun at the end of the bar, just kind of giving him fuck me eyes. So Morty sets up this little drinking contest.
Smart idea.
But he has a plan. He orders the special red rye, which is just Coke and water, while the leprechaun is drinking real whiskey. He goads him unless it's a myth and leprechauns can't hold their drink.
The uncle is fantastic at reverse psychology. Like, he's a crafty dude. And so the uncle is downing those Cokes and waters, and the leprechaun drinks like 7 bottles of whiskey and is absolutely shit-faced.
Gets annihilated.
So he tries to get him drunk, and they try and run to the tree to save her, that they remember the tree was there. And the uncle got too busy being like, I got you, fuck you, ha ha ha. So then he got cracked in the head with a bottle. Leprechaun runs off. Then the leprechaun's at a coffee shop, which was one of the most annoying scenes in the movie. He's drank like...
Oh, the barista. Yeah, he's super freaking annoying.
He drank like 5 cups of coffee, or however many cups were there. And the barista was like, it's time for me to close up, you gotta go. And you gotta pay up. And the leprechaun's like, you're after me gold, huh? And he's like, it's not St. Patrick's Day anymore, you know, what are you gonna be now? Santa's elf, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're really committed to this role, ha ha. And then so the leprechaun's like, oh, you don't try and take a leprechaun's gold. Then that's where this guy became fucking annoying as shit out of nowhere. He was like, oh yeah, leprechaun's gold. Ah! He was doing this super fucking forced weird laugh for like a minute straight every time he said something. So then he said something else, and he's like, ah! And then he's like, you kill me. And he's like, that's a great idea. And he fucking steams him alive with his espresso steam machine, whatever the fuck those are. So...
And the whole time that's going on, Bridget is trying to escape the tree using the Hansel and Gretel technique with the stones. But the stones are disappearing behind her.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I don't know what was making him disappear. If it was just the magic,
I think it's
place
just the
keeping her
magic
from escaping. Yeah. What else do we got here? So they decide to try and go to the go-kart place from the beginning of the movie because there's a
lead safe there.
Right, they're gonna lock the leprechaun up.
Or iron safe, not lead.
Iron, right. And the security officer, he comes up and he's like, I got you, dirtbag, don't fucking move. And he handcuffs the uncle to the car, goes inside to find the kid and see what he's up to. He comes back out and he's like, don't try anything funny with me. I've had 60 hours of combat experience. And the uncle's like, yeah, just uncuff me. I'll, get my ID. Everything's cool. And as soon as he uncuffs him, he looks away and the uncle pops him in the fucking face and knocks him out. He's like, you should have had 65 hours of training. Cocksucker. That was one of my favorite fucking parts of this movie. That was just such a nice little quip and line. But, so the leprechaun ends up getting there. He goes in through a doggy door in the door trying to get to the kid. And the kid was smart enough to have the safe opened right in front of the doggy door. So as soon as the leprechaun went in, he closed it. He was locked in. Everything he touched in there, since it was iron, was hurting him. So they had him pretty well dead to rights. And you can explain how Chuckle Uncle fucked it all up.
Not Alex. What's it? Cody.
Cody,
he goes to get something out of the closet, and Morty locks him in there so he can try to make a deal with the leprechaun. He's like, oh, I caught you. You know the deal. I get 3 wishes. And
go ahead.
Of course, Morty wants his gold. So the leprechaun gives it to him.
He really does. Now, keep in mind, the whole time, Cody is locked, because the uncle locks him in the closet, and the whole time Cody's banging on the door, no, no, no! He got paid to scream no only for like 5 minutes straight. Just no, no, no! And then, he puts it in the fucking guy's stomach, the whole pot of gold, the uncle's. And he's like, oh, fuck! Help me get this out of me. And he's like, well, I'm in here. I can't if you wish me to be out of there. So he wishes it, opens the door for him. And he's like, now get it out of me. And he's like, okay, that's your 3rd wish. And he fucking stabs his hand into the stomach and rips it open and takes it out. And
Cody escapes through the window in the closet.
Yeah, security finds Cody on top of his dead uncle after he gets back in there. He's like, no, 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 some more no's. And the security officer finds him and he's like, you sick fuck, you already killed someone today. Now you ripped him up like this, you're coming with me. So, let's see. So, he tricks him with the voice again. The cops makes it like a little girl. He's like, help me, he hurt me already. And let's see here.
The leprechaun has his goat cart straight out of like fucking Mad Max. It has a pitchfork and
it's
all
like a mix between Mad Max and Mario Kart. So he runs over the security officer. Then he tries to run over the kid, and he goes right through him because he can't hurt him. Because guess what? He's got the gold coin, so he cannot hurt him. So the leprechaun escapes, and he's like, I'll find you. I'm gonna save her. Blah blah blah. Then it goes back to her being in the place. She found a box that had leprechaun stuff in it, and he had whatever he said it was.
An awl. Which is a cobbler's tool, I think.
Oh, okay. So she has that, and she's going to try and stab him with it. And he runs in there, and he's like, we got to prepare for our guest coming. And she's like, wait, let me suck your dick first. And she tries to trick him and just sitting and relaxing for a second. Then she tries to stab him in the neck. It bends and almost breaks, and he's like, oh, yeah, you fucked up now. So he gets there. I don't have many notes after this point because basically it's like 5 minutes of a fucking Scooby-Doo scene where they're running through the doors and it's not actually there and blah 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 blah.
Well, when Cody shows first shows up, the skeleton of one of her like long lost kin comes to life and tries to take the coin from him.
Right, and let's see. Oh,
And
right.
Of course, Cody punches it and annihilates it. It just explodes in a bunch of pieces.
Oh yeah, and of course, how she broke the awl, it was the perfect shape for her to scratch and cut the neck brace off of her.
Yeah.
So then, of course, it was the perfect shape. So she's free. So they're running around that Scooby-Doo bullshit. This door doesn't lead anywhere. So then he gets split up with her and finds her again. And she's like, give me the gold coin. Everything will be okay. I promise. Blah, blah, blah. Like, we have to give it back to him and he'll leave us alone. And then lo and behold, it was the Leprechaun just pretending to be her.
He straight up made out with it, too.
Oh, yeah. And he made her invisible right next to him. That way he couldn't hear or see her. And he's like, where is she? And he undid the thing. Turned out he gave him a gold chocolate coin, those things that are gold wrapped chocolate coins, fake gold, and or gold color. It's not fake gold. It's not fool's gold. You know what I'm talking about. So
Fool's gold is called pyrite. Little fact.
Good fact. So he tricks him into gives him the gold coin, quote unquote, and the Leprechaun's like, okay, I can hurt you now. So he stabs him. Not really. And he's laying there all hurt and shit. Not really. And he gets up and stabs the Leprechaun. He's like, fuck you, it was a trick. So they run out. Leprechaun gets, like, fuck, and he blows up into tiny pieces.
And they escape from the tree, and that's happily ever after.
That's exactly how I was going to word it. So, why don't you go ahead and rate this one first, since I rated the last one first.
This one was close. Like, I could watch both of these movies again right now, but I would prefer the second one a little bit more. But I gave it the same rating, an 8 out of 10.
And I gave this one a little bit better rating than the first one, because I enjoyed it a little bit better than the first one. I gave it a 6 out of 10 or a 3 out of 5 stars. So, Leprechaun 1, I can maybe watch once every couple years. Leprechaun 2, I could watch once a year.
I literally watch the first 3 every year. Especially in March.
Well, how about that? So, there you go. Boom. What'd you guys think of that, you guys and gals?
Did it turn you on?
If it did, no judgment. Let's see. So, for next episode, let me find my thing here. It was What Lies Beneath is the movie we're going to be making an episode on and reviewing. We're going to watch that. And, yeah, because I've never seen that before. So that will be what to look out for next. And then after that, we're coming back with some more. We're going to do Leprechaun 3, possibly 3 and 4, possibly 3, 4, 5. There's like 700 of the movies. There might be a 7-hour long episode on it. We'll see. But
it shall be done.
Anything you want to add to the fine people of the world before we get out of here?
Not really.
He's a man of few words. Well, that'll wrap it up for this episode. Thank you all for joining. Like, subscribe, share us with your friends, buy a billboard and put it on there for us. We appreciate you all.
Well, most of you.
You know who you are. All right, goodbye.